So, though we honestly promise you don't know who Uggo is, we have been in contact with him recently, and we decided to give him his own segment for this show. So, Uggo, if you're watching, it's actually a cooking show. He wanted to do a cooking show for us. And so, Uggo, if you're watching still, please do call in now, please, and save the show.
I mean, you can call Uggo and let us fire under his butt.
Yeah!
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I don't hear you so well.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're cutting out, but you're in, but you're there.
Okay, so we're just letting you do your thing.
Okay, I'm gonna go. All right. So, I would like to thank you for sharing, and this is heavy stuff. So, so what I wanted to do for today is have a comfort food. We're gonna make some comfort food.
Comfort food.
Comfort food. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So, when I think of comfort, obviously, what am I going to say?
Can you give us a mouthful?
What?
A mouthful.
I don't understand.
The volume down on his.
Can you turn the volume down?
My volume?
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes, it does. My friend's hideous. Hide it.
I'm ready.
All right. Well, just turn it. I don't care.
Okay. All right. So, when I don't think about comfort food, you know what I'm going to think about.
Bread!
So that's where we're going to begin. We're going to start. Today what we are going to do is make a bread sandwich. So, first you got your bread. You start with a good loaf of bread. You gotta. Can you hear that?
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely right.
Wait, can you do it one more time? Very dense.
Yeah. I'm saying it's good.
All right. So we're gonna cut some pieces of bread.
Yep. That is a sharp knife you have there.
The heel, we'll save that for later. That's for later. If you know what I mean. Okay. So you got your bread. I'm gonna make this sandwich. All right. Now, first ingredient is what I like to do. I like to take some nice fresh dough. Okay. A little bit of dough.
Is that local dough?
Where's that dough from?
That's a no.
Yeah, oh yeah, look at that. And then you get the dough, and you take some breadcrumbs. Put that in your sandwich. Then you can get you get some croutons. These ones are kind of long, but they don't have to be. It does not matter, because once it's in your mouth, it tastes great. Oh yeah. Yeah, you got a nice tortilla?
I don't bring tortillas into this.
Wait, Uggo.
Yeah.
Quick question.
What?
Does that count as bread?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, tortilla is like the bread of another part of the world.
Alright, fair enough.
I like to try to be international. I mean, people in other parts of the world need comfort too, am I right?
You're right.
Right. Yeah. And then, let's see, what else? I got something, one more thing. Don't have some crackers. Let's see,
Yes, Uggo, yes!
all right, then, you got, oh, well, what else? Oh, then you got your tuning fork. So that's a different recipe. Some people like to, are we still there? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah. On the edge of our seat.
Some people like to put like a salami or cheese, but you know, this is, we're not gonna do that. So, then you would do, you take the bread and you mark it down, like so, you cut it in half, and then,
Cutting a sailing cap. Y'all can chill. Very small eyeballs.
and, it's nice, you know, and, you can put, maybe some strawberry tops. And then the best part of any cooking show is when you finally get to enjoy the goods. It's delicious. Okay, thanks for calling.
You called us.
Thank you.
We're gonna, before we let you go, I wanna do something for you, Uggo. Ready?
Really?
Go. Go. Bye, love you. Keep waving. Bye. Uggo, everybody. You can find him on Facebook. His name's Uggo Loves Bread. Loves Bread is his last name. Is one word. Yep.
That's the Ellis Island version. It was
Loves Breadowitz?
Breadowitz. Yeah. And it was changed. So.